Yeah, I've been looking at a lot of 8745 HS based mini PCs with the Radeon 780M because they're stupid fast. That's why. The 780M, just whenever you see that, it's usually going to be like the sweet spot when it comes to price to performance and gaming power. Right now we're going to take a look at a new brand that I haven't tested yet, but hopefully I'll get to test some more other stuff because I've got a bunch of interesting mini PCs over here that I would like to look at, especially some of these like fanless designs. These are a little bit outside the beating path. But today we're going to take a look at this one. It's the Minix NR774, and it's got the Radeon 8745 HS. So I'm going to cover some of the specs, then we're going to play a bunch of games on this and just see how it runs, and then I'll do some productivity benchmarks. And it's the same video I've made before if you've seen any of my other mini PC videos, but this time I might stand up and not have any pants on, so you better watch. Before we do that, look at all my beautiful games. This is my PC game collection, but it's also a whole bunch of shirts that I'm going to be doing for 70, 80% off. Also, the hardware and the mouse pads. Use coupon code HAPPYHARDWARE and you'll get 50% off that. I'm trying to clear up the shelves as much as possible. Now, these prices are only going to be for the stuff I have here on the shelf. There's a few things that are print on demand, like this one. Those prices will not be changing, but you can go on there and grab just all kinds of t-shirts. I've got all kinds of good stuff left over there. I want more room for my games. Now, you're gonna have to pay a little bit of shipping, but if you grab multiple things, maybe some hardware, maybe some of these, well, that's gonna help a lot. Also, I've got a bunch of games I'm not taking with me, and some of them I've just got duplicates of. They're actually really good games. So I'll throw some of those into the boxes if you order a few things and there's extra room in the box and it doesn't cost me an extra several dollars. I'll throw some games in there. So I'll be giving away that, and I'm also going to be giving away random just stuff from the office that I don't need, little bits of hardware. And then the more premium hardware I'm going to put on the used category over here. If you just come to epicpants.com and scroll down the page about halfway, you'll see there's a used category. I got microphones, handheld consoles, got a few copies of Windows on here. Look at that, Windows 98 sealed in the box. The idea is I take care of you with some good sale prices, and you take care of me by getting this stuff off my shelf so I have a little more room. Head over to epicpants.com, and now on to our regularly scheduled program. All right, let's cover what's interesting about this one. So the CPU is 8 cores, 16 threads, 24.5 megabytes of cache in total, and 4.9 is the max boost frequency. It supports 4 displays, which is something I like to see. 8K at 60 hertz as well, thanks to the USB 4 and a few other fun things. We also have dual 2.5 gigabit Ethernet. I'll show you that on the back in just a second. Then we have DDR5 up to 5600 megahertz, and we already have two 16 gigabyte sticks pre-installed. There's a little shield on top. I peeled back the shield that's on there, like a little heat shield, to see that we also have Crucial. So Crucial everywhere. Then we have PCI Express Gen 4x4 for the M.2. You got 2 slots for that. There's one already installed. You got Wi-Fi 6E for your connectivity and Bluetooth 5.2. And then we've got a website that looks like a real thing. I'm going to make fun of every company that does this because it looks ridiculous. This AI slop looks ridiculous on here. But you know something I will say? Nobody cares about the website. They just need it to be a website that looks real and legit. So I'm kind of like, I don't see much of a difference in slop and not slop because no one cares. What we do care about, again, the ports and stuff. Let's take a look at the ports. First off on the front. So we've got 2 USB Type A. They're USB 3.2 Gen 2. The power button beside that. Then we have USB 4. It's Type C. And a reset hole. I'm saying things out of order. I don't care. We also have a 3.5 millimeter combo jack for your audio. No audio on the back. Just in the front. Flip it around to the back and there's our power port. Beside that we have another USB-C 4.0 with power delivery 3.0. So you can, what is power delivery 3.0? Both of them are power delivery 3.0. It's input 100 watts. So you can actually power this through the USB-C. Output 15 watts, and those are 40 gigabits per second. So yeah, that's what you get with your USB-C. The USB-C is ridiculous. Power this entire thing with one USB-C plug. It's also a DisplayPort, but yeah, we'll keep on going. So we have full-size DisplayPort and HDMI. Then we have 2 USB 2.0 for your peripherals, and then 2.5 gigabit Ethernet RJ45. We got 2 of those ports. Both of those 2.5 gigabit Ethernet ports are the Realtek RTL8125. And then for our Wi-Fi 6E, it's the MT7922 from MediaTek. So taking this thing apart is interesting. I flipped it over and there's 4 very recessed holes. I had to go get a screwdriver that I normally use to fix glasses. That was the only thing that I had that would fit all the way down in there to unscrew these. So very narrow area to unscrew the screws. After you get the 4 screws unscrewed, you can flip it back over and it the top comes off. It's kind of interesting. And then inside there, we've got another little area that you can unscrew, and then you have access to everything else. Now we have under the hood there, you can see we have both of our underhood there. You can see we have our RAM, and we also have our 2 M.2 slots, one already populated. So put another one in there if you want to. Product dimensions 138.5 by 131.3 by 52.1 millimeters, and it weighs 737.8 grams. All right, so let's hop in and test this out, shall we? Okay, Baldur's Gate 3. Let's see what it's like on high. Why not? Because I'm actually running it on medium. Okay, you know what? High is pretty good. Really. I'm going to turn off that. Can we run it without upscaling? So let's do medium. Get rid of the TAA because I hate it. Alright, so medium, no upscaling. We can probably get away with this. Let's just see. Yeah, this runs pretty good.
How long have you been down here? Dink, Melon, dink.
Yeah, medium without FSR is wonderful down here in the Underdark. So this is probably what I would do, and then I would switch it whenever I went to the city. I would like do the tedious nonsense of opening it up and switching it over to low whenever I'm in the city. But I would play it just like this, because that's very acceptable. Let's take a look. Yeah, medium with no FSR, and we're getting 36 FPS. 1% low is 29.6. That's going to feel a little bit of a chop here and there, but like I said, this is not a fast-paced action game, so that's fine with me. For grins, I'll turn on FSR again. I like how sharp it looks without it on, but whatever. And we'll put it on. We'll do it on quality. If we're going to turn it on, I'll turn it on, you know. Yeah, Carlite, calm down. And there we go, yeah. 4950. And you can see there, medium with FSR on quality, 49 FPS. I brought our 1% low up to 38.2, so good performance there on Baldur's Gate 3. Alright, so I just tested a system with a Radeon 890M, and this is like 1 FPS faster, so that doesn't make any sense because this is a much less expensive CPU and GPU combination. It just doesn't have the AI nonsense, but yeah, this is awesome for gaming. So we can really play this on medium here. You can see it never dropped below 38. We have a nice tight. Let's try it on low just because some people are going to want to play it on low if they're, you know, trying to aim and stuff. Whatever. Oh, yes. And look at this. We're getting 51.31 average FPS, minimum 43.95. I think that's totally fine for Cyberpunk. And just look at it. It looks so good on low. That's one thing the Red Engine has over the Unreal Engine. One thing I like about the Red Engine over the Unreal Engine is that, you know, on low, it still looks really, really good. Put Unreal Engine on low and it looks like garbage. But this looks really good. So, yeah, I think this is totally doable. All right, we're going to take a look at a new game from the creators of Ori and the Blind Forest. And this one is not for you. Why did she look like this? So weird. Why do all the people have such weird limbs? Anyway, this is No Rest for the Wicked. The Breach Refined. I haven't gotten into this that far yet, but it looks beautiful. And I don't know exactly how to describe the controls because, I mean, it's Souls-like as far as the combat goes when it comes to the parrying, the rolling to dodge or absorb damage, and then the attacks that are, you know, like they drain stamina and all that. But yeah. All right, so we're in the 30s right now when it comes to performance 30, 40. I think that's probably okay. This game feels slow. I pick up all my stuff here. I'm running around on the shore. Now, at first glance, it looks kind of like the graphics are stylized, the camera's fixed, it's interesting, but it's a lot grittier than you think. It's got a, I don't know, people who are weird say things like painterly or whatever, I don't know. It's Ori and the Blind Forest, so they know what they're doing when it comes to like making interesting visuals that have a lot of atmosphere and stuff. Can I harvest something from this crab? Just punch the lights out of a crab. Yeah, there we go. Can't block that thing. Now this hurts. Like all interesting games, you start off on a ship and it wrecks. That's how all games used to start, so I guess we're back at that. Anyway, this is running fine. Feels smooth and wonderful. Death? Oh, I can swim. And unlike Dark Souls, you can swim. Alright, this works just fine. It's kind of fun, so if you want to check it out. Oh, geez. And the performance is nearly identical to the other 8745HS based machines that I've tested with the 780M graphics card, 73.6 FPS. The fastest one that I tested was 74.4. So that one was good, but get this, the minimum FPS on this one is 39.8, and I tested it twice just to make sure the minimum FPS was 39 both times. On the other one that I tested, the minimum was 35.2. So this one seems to have a smoother feel, if you know what I mean. Like playing games will feel a little bit smoother on this based upon this benchmark. Now let's take a look at superposition. In superposition, our average FPS is 39.15 with a minimum of 33.08 and a score of 52.33. The other machine that I tested was 39.63 and 33.40. The difference is that this one has extra 2.5 gigabit Ethernet ports. This is just exactly what you should expect from one of these CPUs. So here's the interesting thing with Geekbench and with our CPU tests, I'm finding that this one is a tiny bit faster than the others that I've been testing. 2535 and 12924. Scroll down so you can see the individual tests right here. And over on the OpenCL, we got 28819. And again, here are the individual test scores. All right, let's have a look at our Cinebench. So I actually did 2 tests, you can see here, because I realized I needed to update my drivers. So after the update of the drivers, a little bit of a difference here. So our max score with the older drivers for the single core was 1728. With the newer drivers, 1686. Then with the multi-core, there we go. You can see it's basically the same 16001 versus 15989. So the newer drivers are a tiny bit slower. Don't know why, but yeah. For reference, I'm on 25.6.1. All right, so after about 30 minutes, we are at 88.5 degrees Celsius here with our AIDA64 stress test. I'm using hardware info to monitor the temperatures, as you can see over here, but they also agree with the temperatures that we're seeing on AIDA64. 88, that's fine. I mean, 95 is where you're going to start seeing throttling. I would like it to be cooler, of course, but, this is a tiny little part with a tiny fan. So I'll give it a little bit just because of that, and also it's so freaking fast. 88.5 is on the warmer-ish side, but it's very similar to most of the other units that I've seen, and I've seen some of them that were over 90, so, it's somewhere in the middle. Pretty normal for this CPU. So in my room right now, it is 43.8 decibels. That is the noise level. It's a little loud in this room because there's a lot of stuff, but, let's just see how loud it gets. I did hear the fans ramp up quite a bit when I first started the test, but it's not extremely loud. It was just not loud at all when, I was just idling. So let's check it. All right, so we got around 50.9. It actually hit 51, but I pressed the hold button just a second too late. So you can definitely hear it. It's not unpleasant because it doesn't ramp up and down, but it does, produce enough noise that you'll be able to hear it if you're not wearing headphones or something. So somewhere in the middle when it comes to this as well. All right, let's look at that hard drive performance, shall we? Something's wrong. All right, so I turned off Steam. It looks like it was trying to download Steamworks or something. And now we can see the actual performance of this Western Digital hard drive, and it is on the lower end of PCI Express Gen 4x4, so maybe they got a good deal on these. Going to feel snappy, but this is nothing to write home about. I mean, this is PCI Express Gen 3x4 speeds over here on the right, but that's barely Gen 4 speeds on the read. So subpar performance, but I don't think it's going to matter for games like at all, pretty much. If you're moving around a lot of big files, I don't know, maybe that'll matter, but yeah, anything above 2,000 or 3,000 is fine with me. And the IOPS both over 100,000, but again, on the lower end when it comes to PCI Express Gen 4 speeds. Let's take a look at the system summary here. There's a couple things I want to look at in particular. Let's get a load of that drive here. Kingston, PCI Express Gen 4, and there's the model number if you want to look it up. Here's our video adapter, the Radeon 780M, detailed information over there. And we have 6 gigabytes of dedicated video memory. Can you believe that NVIDIA has some desktop parts that are way more expensive than this entire computer that have 8 gigabytes? So this is nice because it's also going to share some of the system memory, which we have 32 gigabytes, and that's DDR5, so it's going to be nice and snappy. Okay, so interesting. Compared to a lot of the other 8745HS based machines, this one was as fast or faster in some of the tests. Some of the gaming tests were pretty much it's the same regardless of who you go with. But some of the CPU bound tests, this one was a little bit faster in some of those tests by a little bit. So rendering using 7-zip, just doing CPU stuff, not bad. Could also be that the hard drive's maybe a little faster than the ones in those. It could be a lot of different things. These should be very similar. But the other thing that's nice is that when I'm testing this with like some crazy benchmark, yeah, you can hear the fans. But when I'm just doing a regular gaming session or doing something medium to light, the fans are barely even going on. Even when I was doing Cinebench, the fans were not that loud. They were like very subdued compared to when I was doing a full 100% CPU stress test in AIDA64. So they did a very good job at keeping this quiet, but also keeping it cool enough so it's not that big of a deal. And then, the combination of all the stuff you get. So this is, one of the best when it comes to this combination of parts, the 780M, 8745HS. It's one of the best ones out there. So if this price is competitive with some of the others that I've looked at, it's probably the way to go. Because, you see this one here? It's $599. It's almost the same speed. It's also really quiet. The only real major difference is it only has one port on the back. Actually, it doesn't have as many ports just in general. So if you need all the ports, then it's, obviously better to go with the Minix. All right, that's it. Let me know what you think of this Minix PC, and I'll see you in the comments.